Okay, everybody, After Party 21. And we're here today with our special NPC guest, Marty Cannell and Tony McCree. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Great to check back in after our little episode earlier.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Good time.
That sounds like a bad thing, the way you said that.
Yeah, happy to be checking back in. Oh, wait, I don't have to do that stupid voice I tried to do. Oh, thank God.
Oh, I love the voices.
You were doing a voice?
Yeah, I was going to say, I listened to that episode today. By the way, great job on editing and everything. It sounded really good. But, Tony, why did you change accents like 6 times during that thing? Every time you talked, it was a different voice.
because we were a two-headed Etten, and you kept sending pulses to my brain to change my accent.
Okay.
A two-headed Etten with multiple personality disorders, and
There you go.
there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that, but I couldn't remember anything. I don't know. Don't make me do voices unless it's a Southern English accent, okay? I can do that one.
Can you do a Southern English accent?
Not really.
Oh, that's good. All right, so we're gonna go back and talk about episode 63, Friend of Mine.
Friend of mine.
Friend of Mine. That's right.
Friend of mine.
Mine.
64, The Infinite Hero, and 65.
No. 64 was the finite.
Finite. Oh, Finite Hero.
Yes.
Yeah, we had it. We
Slip
had
of
an
the tongue
infinite.
there.
Yeah, and then TBD for 65, yet to be named.
Because as of recording is yet to be released.
That's right.
We like to put things off to the last minute here.
Well, I mean, we recorded that episode like over a month ago. It was like the middle of January that we recorded.
Right.
Okay, so basically 63, we had a little bit, we got back and started to talk to Campbell a little bit, got some health potions, ran into our good friend Tolstoff again, the Infinite Hero. Had a little shepherd's pie from Chef Boyardee.
All right.
And and then about 3/4 of that episode was just Mia and Shakara off mic, so I have absolutely nothing to say about it, so you guys can talk away.
Yeah, why don't you guys tell us what you had to talk about
Shakara
there?
and I had a sleepover.
Had some girl talk.
It was fun.
We kicked everybody else off mic, and it was just Elena and I talking to Leland. Well,
Yeah.
Elena and I talking to each other, and Leland listening in.
Right.
That's creepy, really.
I don't know. I don't have anything to say about that right now.
No, we don't have
Alright.
anything to say about that. It was just a fun
it
girls'
is-
night.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so that's episode 63.
Yeah, I said that you guys could listen to what I said to Campbell. Like, you guys could have if you wanted to.
Oh, I forgot you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that on the
Alright.
last after party, but
I didn't listen. I don't want to know.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I find it too difficult to separate my knowledge from Falzarin's knowledge, which is it's great that I know nothing about different monsters from D&D, like their resistances and all that sort of thing, because it's too easy to metagame.
I was surprised you had more to say after. It's a good thing I know nothing.
There are some things I know.
I mean, if we want to get on a tangent about the metagaming and knowledge, we could talk about the trip through that tunnel as a group with Dylan.
Yeah, well, that's...
Leland edited it down to sound really nice.
We'll get there.
It sounded good.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Role-playing is hard, you guys.
It is.
Sometimes it's hard. That was hard for us.
Marty, Tony, you guys, when's the last time you guys played a role-playing game?
We're not pausing for effect. It's been that long.
No, let's see. Well, let's see. Tony and I did a play-by forum last year on BGG.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I played one session. Tony went on to play another session after I did. Me and my sons tried out the Warhammer Fantasy role-playing game that came out last year, and I did that last summer. So I guess that was it. That one, and then we played D&D on a play-by forum last year too.
Can you tell me a little bit about how play by forum works? I know very
I
very
don't know
little
what that
about
means
it.
exactly.
Tony did 2 seasons of it, so I'll let him say it.
Well, thanks, Marty, for kicking it over to me. I really do appreciate that. So I do, before we go there, I want to squirrel over to something else y'all just said. So if I understand this correctly, the ladies kicked y'all off mic. So that means you pulled out the ear pieces and y'all couldn't hear.
One of the things we do is whenever anybody wants to talk to the DM or talk to somebody privately, we kick everybody else off mic. And then when we listen back to the episode, we don't listen to those parts. So we can have sort of intrigue and tell lies to each other and that kind of thing, which I think sets us apart from a lot of other role-playing podcasts. But we really enjoy it, and it really does piss people off a lot.
Does it upset your listeners, or does it upset y'all?
No, I think the listeners enjoy knowing everything. And
the listeners get to be in on it. I think they like that.
I wouldn't say it pisses us off. I say it's more of a frustration trying to remember what parts you have to skip listening to.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sort of a pain, but it's also neat to be able to hide things from each other or be able to have secrets. We found that listening in on, if everybody's still sitting there and you're telling a lie, it's hard to separate what John knows versus what Shaft knows, kind of thing.
Well, did you listen to Leland's intro? Because Leland's intro had a little bit of something where I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be listening to this right now.
Anything that I put in that intro, I ran by Emily, and I confirmed with her that what I added was okay for all to hear.
You just got to remember that your characters don't know that little bit of information.
I mean, I fast forwarded. I figured.
I skipped it as well, yeah, because I was like, I don't remember this, so I hit the skip button.
But it made it an interesting intro.
So, Marty, what I think we need to do is we need to try that on one episode where you kick me off mic.
Yeah.
Well, typically you don't pay attention anyway when I'm talking. You just sit back in your chair and just kind of eat or drink or whatever. And then I pull you back in. You go, what did you say?
So you guys have been doing this a while then, right?
Yeah. We have. I think it'd be interesting to do a board game review that way. You do one and I do one, and we don't know what each other said.
That's not a bad idea. Each of us do like
that
a 5-minute and then see how it compares at the end.
One of you's like, I love it. It's great. The other one's like, this game sucks.
Well, I don't know who would say that, Emily. I don't know which one of us would say a game sucks. It wouldn't be Grumpy Tony. I know better than that.
It wouldn't be anyone who's grumpy.
But okay, bringing us back, Play by Forum is a BGG where you have a DM who will run an entire forum story, and he'll have maps up for you, and it's like playing by mail. So basically you'll have a group of 5 or 6 adventurers going, and you'll have a DM running it, and he'll provide you adventures, not as quote interactive as what you would do in Face or as y'all do, and you would do rolls on there, and he sets initiative pretty much the same way. So it's a good way for people to try out whether or not they would like the concept, if they can get into it. I had a lot of fun with it because I was able to, really, if you're not comfortable speaking and role playing, it was easy for me to type. Like I was Dour Grimax, a dwarf paladin who was fed up with life, and he had an attitude, but he would constantly be invoking dwarf gods to try to help him get crits on his axe, and would have some issues where Marty was a ranger who could not use a crossbow because some of his rolls, I think he was shooting the bow back at himself, the bolt back at him. I don't know what you were doing on them, Marty. That was kind of wild.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So then is it everybody still plays all at the same time, though? You still have a set time where you get together to play?
No, you're constantly checking the BGG. You're subscribing to the thread, and so you can get to see that. And if after a certain amount of time, the DM will say, or GM will say, hey, it's time to move on. I'm just going to do the actions for this character, because sometimes, real life kicks in, but it just rolls throughout the month.
Oh, that's interesting.
Cool.
Interesting.
It was a great way to try out.
I mean, you basically, you're just constantly playing the whole time. You can check in as much or as little as you want. They ask you to check in at least maybe once a day, just so you can catch up what's going on and see if it's your turn or not. You have the BGG has the way to do dice rolls inside of a post. So you can say, hey, I'm going to do a check, and you enter in a formula or a code for it. And when you don't know the result until you hit submit. And then you'll see what your roll was, and then the DM will respond accordingly.
So the DM's pretty busy then, like every day, all day, replying and organizing
Yes.
that.
Oh, that's interesting. I've heard that term, but didn't really understand how it works in practice.
But as far as the DM goes, yeah, they're constantly keeping the thing moving, but you can tell when, like, ours was actually 6 hours time zone sync. So it was kind of interesting. We would go in and they would have a lot of the history or narrative posted for us, and we as characters would interact with one another and then come back and resolve it, and the DM would say, okay, here's what we need to do. So it was actually very entertaining at times.
That sounds pretty neat. Too slow though. I gotta get in and play and then to get the hell out. Which we usually record 3-4 hours, really?
Yeah.
Is that about a typical recording length for us?
Yeah. I think it'd be nice for, like you said, people who maybe aren't so sure or aren't so confident about having to. I mean, I have basically not really done a character voice yet, except for a couple lines I said in the one shot that we did. But like that's something that makes me a little bit nervous. So if I were to go back and start from fresh, I would have been a lot less nervous to do a play by form than jump in the way we did it, which was let's record a podcast and put it out for the entire world to listen to. The first time I've ever role played.
Gotta go all in.
Yeah,
That's right.
So I don't want to spoil it, but I want to know, did our character survive?
That was a discussion we all had, and we don't know.
I think that's all on Leland. Leland, you want to answer that question?
Yeah.
It's the party has yet to confirm whether or not Statdorf lived.
Statdorf lives on in Falzarin's heart, no matter what happens.
Okay, so let's hit the episode before that, 64. I think we did everything on 63, essentially. So, 60...
Yeah, for 63, I just wanted to, for Emily's solo part, I think it was, like, the roleplay was really fun. I think Emily did a fantastic job
Thank
with
you.
it. And
I agree.
That was a great...
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
thanks,
since
Mel.
we've heard it.
It was so helpful. And I don't know, I hope all the listeners able to listen to it really enjoyed it too, because I had a really good time.
I'm super excited
Yeah, it
about
was fun.
what happened and what will be happening.
Ooh.
Well, you just made it so much worse because now I want to hear it even more.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks, Leland. All right, we'll go on to 64 then. Our buddy Tolstoff, we invited, in 63, we invited him to join us on the ship to Heraklion.
Oh, that was genius.
So you guys, if you
Kind
don't...
of in jest.
Yeah, Tolstoff's sort of a outspoken... How would you describe Tolstoff?
Self-proclaimed hero.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed
Opportunist.
hero. Opportunist.
Yeah, he likes to
yes.
claim responsibility for things that are done that he really didn't have anything to do
That
with.
we did.
And
Taking our glory.
look like
He's
the
a
good
coward.
guy.
Yeah, so we invited him along, knowing that he probably wouldn't show. But during the night, when we were at the tavern, we woke up to hear breaking glass and ran out in the hallway, found that Tolstoff's door was the only one that wasn't open. So when we went inside, we found that he was dead.
Aww.
Looked
Yeah.
out the... it's another thing you guys might want to know. A lot of people die, including main characters in our campaign.
Right.
So we saw the assassin heading out the window. We gave chase, followed him along through the city until we found... Actually, he disappeared into a hidden passage, which we eventually found. We followed him down
We found
into a...
how? Wait, we need to highlight this. How did we find
Okay.
the passage?
Well, I think we found it two ways. I believe that Mia was searching and had a pretty good roll, but we also got to use Falzarin's Wand of
Finally.
Secrets.
Yeah.
I believe Leland said, you find it right before she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially a wasted use of that.
But he used
that
it. He
wand.
remembered it, and he used it. I'm so proud, Bill.
Yeah, I've had that for many, many, many
It's
episodes.
almost as if the
I've not used
DM
it.
knew that you had it and wanted to use it.
Almost that way.
Were there limited charges on that, or does it redo every day?
I'm pretty sure it refills after a long rest.
They do,
right?
yeah. They do.
Oh,
regain
then
at dawn.
you should be using that shit all the time.
I know. I
Yeah.
should be
That's
You
like,
should
what we
be.
said.
He should have been for the last 50 episodes.
Well, I'm proud of you. You finally got that, whipped it out.
After party content.
Yeah. After 64 episodes.
Falzarin finally
whip my
whipped it
wand
out.
out.
All right. Yeah, so we did find the secret passageway that led into the basement of the what was the name of the
Dorset Salvage. Salvage.
salvage? Under the Dorset Salvage building, which was interesting. We finally got down in there. Shaft ended up catching up with Dallin, and this is one of those things that I would usually kick you guys off mic. But I wanted to do it a little different this time and go ahead and talk through what was happening to sort of give everybody a little bit of a taste of the lies, right? And what did you guys think about that?
Well, after extensive editing, it turned out fantastic.
Yeah, it did end up sounding way better than when we played it. Like, honest.
For everyone
Holy
who was
mother
present.
of bloody hell was these first two episodes a clusterfuck to edit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. This is the worst batch of 3 that we've had to put together.
We kept saying it's okay, he can edit it out. Like, I'm just gonna say this real quick. Would you guys know this or say this? And okay, he can edit it out. Like, we just kept saying that.
I think the idea is we're supposed to be getting better at this the more we do it, right?
We yeah. Oh man, I should send you the synced up raw form of it so you can all just listen to how it actually went.
I don't
Yeah,
wanna
we
hear
were
it.
getting a little salty halfway through.
Yeah, I think this highlights the fact that I'm and I know this about myself. I'm not great at separating what Bill hears and what Falzarin sees and hears. So we kind of struggled with that because Bill knew that Shaft was probably going to try and let this guy make a run for it, and then it was tough to play Falzarin not knowing that information.
And I felt I was playing Shakara not knowing that information, but others might have thought differently. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
I think it still
other-
came out as you being pretty suspicious, but I don't know.
I was doing what I would have done, and I would not have left Shaft, this little itty-bitty guy, alone with this great big guy that we were trying to bring in. I would not have done that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because I disagree doesn't mean you're right.
And for the sake of our marriage, we'll just let that drop.
Well, you know what's funny about that? So basically what was heard in the episode of moving down that passage that Dallin uncovered the door that led to. Mm-hmm. That was the first part in which we had done. And then we did a whole thing because we were all confused of people's placement. And then we started over. And then we ended right back up in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, why would I cut out? I may as well keep up the first part where I actually had a decent description of this passageway that we went through. So, yeah, there was like a solid 20 minutes that got cut out that we were all just like bickering. It's the most polite word
I feel like Mia was not suspicious of Shaft, and I played it that way, but I was trying to play off that I was still human to the others, and I couldn't see in the dark. Like, that kind of came up, right? Like, well, why is Mia going first? Can she see and all this stuff, right? But I was like, I can see. But anyway. So I thought that was kind of, like, the interesting part about it, because, like, as we were playing, I knew you knew that I could see Leland, and others didn't know. But I kind of really enjoyed being the character that was, like, instead of being the rogue sneaking ahead, I liked being the, like, metal plated armor, like hammer glowing in the front. Like, I just liked that. I remember playing back that, like, it felt cool to be a strong character. I don't know.
It's fun to be up front.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to be like, whatever comes at me, comes at me.
That was sort of the idea. I got this guy locked down in manacles. You guys go ahead, and if anything's up there to attack us, we want the big strong people up front.
Uh-huh.
That was the
Well, you
that
always
is
have
exactly
a big
what it
strong
was.
person in the back also in case somebody sneaks up behind you, which in this case was unlikely, but could happen because we don't know if he has associates waiting for him somewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, Elena was for sure thinking he's just gonna like accidentally let the guy get away. Like it was pretty. Oh, it was pretty hard.
Yeah. I mean, when I went down there and I caught him and I turned him over when you guys weren't in the room, and I know who he is, which I learned at that point. You're gonna do a favor for each other. We're both on the same team, right? So it was sort of the fun of trying to figure out how to let him go without you guys knowing I let him go. And I think in the end, it came out all right. It's a little hokey, I think, right there at one point where he was getting in the boat and getting away.
Yeah, and we were also trying to wrap up that recording session too, and it was
I didn't think it was that bad.
okay. It wasn't my best work, I'll say that.
The tagline for our podcast, it wasn't that bad.
Not my best work.
It was really weird to hear things that like Bryn would have known about, and I still sometimes find myself like they were mentioning, Drukal, and I was like, oh, I know people in Drukal. No, I don't. I mean, Mia does, I guess. But like, oh, this coast leads to the city, like Erica's hut.
Right.
Right, exactly.
I had to act like I never knew any of that, right? Like,
Exactly.
It's kind of weird.
And I did like how Falzarin sort of knew a little bit, and he and I sort of had a, wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of interaction there where he knew that I knew and we knew you guys didn't know, that kind of thing.
Right.
I think there's going to be more of that to come, I'm sure.
I hope so. I'm just trying to figure out what amount I want to kick off Mike versus what amount I want to do
Right.
out. And same with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can. We probably have a general-ish rule of thumb where a mic kickoff is usually longer than like 5 minutes. Quite frankly, they usually end up to be like 5 to 10 minutes of solo content.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be like, okay, I just want to say a sentence or two to somebody and kick everybody off. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's annoying for us while we play, and I imagine it can break a lot of the immersion we try to build, and hopefully comes out in the recording that we for when we play for everybody that has to leave mic or whatever.
Yeah, I
right?
think as jarring as it is when Shakara's like, all right, everyone off mic, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll let the dogs out or whatever, right? But like, so it is kind of jarring from what scene we're in, but for the listener too, now they have this insight going into the whole next scene or day or whatever, right? I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're worth it. I certainly enjoy them.
Yeah, I agree.
I love all of like I said last after party, I love the solo episodes that we get to do, and I hope we get to do more of that stuff.
You're going to kill us so that we get to do more of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get to hear all of it, so.
Of course you would love it. You know all the things.
I'm just a listener. I get to see
He
everything.
knows all the things.
So what the hell did you guys think was down this tunnel? You guys were saying you thought it was trapped or what?
I was worried. Falzarin, I don't know whether it was Bill or Falzarin more so that was worried that he was going to have buddies waiting for him in their getaway boat or getaway whatever. So I was thinking, oh man, this guy, this is already a hulking beast of a man that we've got here. And who knows how many buddies he's got waiting for him.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, you weren't rested and all that stuff.
And yeah, Falzarin was grumpy because he didn't get a full 8 hours
You
of
played
sleep.
that really funny.
Well, he's getting sick of it. He wants his spell slots back, okay?
I don't know. For some reason, I thought maybe this guy, being an assassin, would have, some goods on his boat or something. That's why I was checking out his boat. But that might have been very roguey of me to care about. Maybe I'm still transitioning into playing Mia at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Mia comes from privilege, and she probably isn't the type to be looking in someone's boat for trinkets and gold and stuff, right? Yeah.
I mean, probably.
But that'll come. That'll come with the
it
more you play
saddens me, but probably not.
Well, you're pretty ready to hand out the gold to Campbell, right? Hey, whatever it costs, just put it on
I
my
know.
tab.
I said that, and then I spent all my money at Campbell's. I was broke after that. You guys
You're
don't
playing
know
a
that.
rich character who's not
need to write
actually
home.
rich at the moment.
Get mommy, daddy, send you some
I
more.
mean, I was a rich character a year ago, leaving home, and then I had to make do with small jobs and
Right.
my own little investigations in the last year. So
I mean, that could be an interesting opportunity for roleplay, like someone who's always had whatever she wanted, right? Like didn't have to worry about money really because she comes from a
Well,
wealthy
I
family.
have a feeling she'll stumble upon some gold soon. Wink, wink.
Not if Waldron keeps that wand in his pocket,
That's
so he
true.
doesn't pull it out.
Whoa.
Hey, Tony woke up.
No. I've been awake. I'm just sitting here taking this all in and making sure.
Yeah, sorry.
So what kind of D&D are you guys playing? I missed this.
It's heavy on the role playing and light on the Dungeons
You
and
should have
Dragons.
heard John and Leland flirting back in the day. Isabella, Izzy.
Oh yes. There's nothing I love more than when Leland's playing a female and Shaft is flirting with her.
Shaft is a big flirt, and he's got to have someone to flirt with.
Yeah, those are good times.
Oh, okay. I'm sure they were, but okay. I'm sorry for the interruption, but yeah.
No,
it's all
Free to
right.
jump in. This is all free form. If you have any questions about magic items, you just jump in there, and Falzarin can tell you what they all do.
I'm sure I do not need to hear what the man's wand can do. That's all I'm saying.
So in 64, there were a couple things that I really liked. One was Falzarin said, "I'm not a big fan of thoughtless killing of people." And and Dallin responds, "I assure you, I thought this through."
Oh, yeah, I like that line.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant.
And then Leland says, Shaft nods to Dallin, and Dallin nods with his eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I actually, while listening to that, was looking in the mirror. Like, I was doing my
if you
makeup,
can
and
do
I
it.
tried to nod with my eyes,
Oh,
and
you
I was
can
like,
do it.
It's
I
like a
don't
form
know.
of thieves' cant, actually.
Really?
So
Okay, I'm glad you're not. I'm
GTFO,
glad
okay.
I'm not the only one who also tried to nod with their eyes and found that it was impossible to do.
This is like a wiggle of the
can't
eyebrows
do
or
it.
something.
All right, everyone watch their screen. Am I doing it? Am I pulling it off?
I know what you mean, Leland. We can nod with our eyes anytime.
I feel like eyebrows, maybe, but like eyes, like eyeballs, I don't know.
it's like there's people that can roll them back, so you just see the whites.
Okay, everybody try to
Quick
nod
roll
with your
up.
eyes right now, real
roll
quick. It's not easy or fun. Oh, man.
We did have a question about that episode though, right? From was it Bill Band that sent it in? Asking how the players, not the characters, but how the players felt about this assassination in the same tavern that they were staying in, and
Right.
whether or not maybe the players think if did they get the right person? Was he there for somebody else? Maybe.
Well, there was a brief conversation between Shaft and Falzarin that I believe he said that he was afraid if we didn't get busy on the tower job, that someone would there would be somebody sent to take care of Shaft.
Right. But Tolstoff's an elf. How would they confuse you?
I think Falzarin, that probably would have been a thought that would have went through Falzarin's head, is that he's just had this conversation with Shaft about the fact that we're kind of dragging our heels on this job, and Shaft has this guy who gives him jobs, who's a powerful guy who you don't want to mess with, and who likes jobs to be done on time, and then all of a sudden some guy gets assassinated a couple rooms down from us. But so I think that was probably going through Falzarin's head as we were pursuing this guy.
I mean, my thought was we invited him along with us, and then he died. Like, I feel like we maybe had something to do with it, or someone didn't want him to come with us. I don't know.
I assumed it was payback for, in quotes, killing Erica.
Killing Erica. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good thought as well.
But how, who, what, when, where, why?
I mean, she had lots of people on her side, the cults and all that.
It's something that's going to be meaningful and on the mind of our characters, probably.
Well, I know how much they all really adored Tolstoy.
Yeah, we really tried to find out who was murdering poor Tolstoff, like we really cared.
The morning will be long and will be deep. Yeah.
We did act like we cared. Falzarin and Shaft, because of their knowledge of Drukal and Detmer and etc., right? And sort of knowing that Shaft had a connection with this hired killer, should be aware of the fact that cultists or Isabella or whoever knows about this killing Erica thing, like Emily said, quote unquote killing Erica, is also then somehow communicating to Drukal. Like, that's a big deal if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Marty and Tony, this is the part of the after party where we give Leland all the ideas that he hasn't thought of yet, because we're trying to theorize what's going to happen, and you'll watch him take notes along the way.
Yeah, occasionally he looks down and starts writing notes.
You're just making his job easier.
Yeah. As you should. I mean, come on now. You're helping him write a story for you.
We have good ideas. We're part of this story, yeah.
Yeah, you have ideas.
We have ideas.
Sometimes it ends up being much worse than what was originally planned.
That is entirely true, yes.
So what's the lesson
Yeah,
here?
like spiders, for example.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We'll get to that.
Let's maybe
Well,
get into that. Like,
If we don't have anything else to talk about
one more
with...
thing. My
okay.
favorite Shaft line from Session 64. I can't. I got ored.
oh yeah,
Oh, right.
I got
kid,
ordered.
I got ored. I was like,
There you go.
hold on to that
Yeah,
ship.
that was good.
And he's just, I can just picture him flopping around. Oh, I got hurt.
Oh man, that whole thing was so weird to play Mia. Like, I had to throw my hammer at a boat instead of trying to kill a person. Like, I'm just trying to be good, and it's just hard. It didn't come naturally to me. It was hard to play.
You've been playing a rogue for too
I
long.
know.
So, okay, I have a question then.
Yeah.
For, on the topic of metagaming and this bloody episode, which...
It was so bad. It was
So
So much
when-
disdain.
Okay, so when Shaft's saying, I got ored, at what point and how well do Shakira and Mia need to know Shaft before I have to get you to roll a performance
Ooh.
and them to do an insight when Shaft does stuff like that, right? Like, at what point... We never really have talked about the player
Yeah.
versus player stuff like that, right?
Right.
You could have had us do it, and I wouldn't have questioned it.
My take is, at this point, we really don't know each other, so there's really no reason one way or the other at this point, right?
That's what I think exactly. It would be the same as Shafty walking into a bar and chatting up the keep there and giving them a fake name. They
Right.
would have no reason to question this whether or not that's your name.
Exactly.
That's the thinking that I'm currently under, at where the relationship and kind of some of the dynamics with the party are.
right.
And I think, like I touched on last after party, like we're continuing this trend of this kind of party separation of Falzern and Shaft versus Mia and Shakara.
Yeah.
Good versus evil. Or chaotic neutral.
You guys aren't evil. That's not nice, Elena.
You're not good. You might have started off good.
I think especially Shaft is trying to make every effort to make sure Shakira and Mia both trust him, right?
Right.
There's really not a lot of, and I think we get into this in a future episode here, where typically where Shaft would have just argued with Bryn or even Gozer, now he's making an effort to actively give in and pull back
Right. And be agreeable.
to, for whatever reason, right?
Right.
Because he doesn't need them to mistrust him, because how else can you stab somebody in the back if they constantly think you're
About to stab him in the back.
a bad guy, about to stab him in the back, right?
Are you gonna stab us in the back?
No.
That's what you just said.
I mean, no, I'm saying
Falzarin will be
you
so
have to
heartbroken
trust me in
if
order
Shaft
for me to
betrayed
stab
him.
you in the back. That's what you just
That's exactly
said.
right. Well, that's exactly right. But that's what his thinking is. He's unless if it's not important, he's going to probably just do whatever it is to make you guys trust him. That doesn't mean he's going to stab you in the back. That just means he can if he needs to.
Right. Shaft is doing what Shaft has always done is try to manipulate situations into more of and be inclined towards his favor. It's just now with these differing people, he is adopting differing tactics to do so.
Right. And I do think that he and Falzarin have been together long enough now where there is a sort of a camaraderie there, I believe, where it is, like you say, Leland, that I think I'll confide more in him and he'll confide more in me. We don't know these two, and we're basically using them for their muscle at this point. Both of us are.
Yeah, girl. I love the
High five.
roll.
Yeah, I
high
think
five.
Falzarin maybe a little bit less so. Like Falzarin's life has been turned upside down recently. So while he's also not going to be readily trusting new people, he also at the same time he's got no friends really, no one to turn to. There's a couple people who's like sort of friends with on Heraklion, but Brendel was his main friend.
Oh,
Yeah, Brendel.
effing Brendel.
Another dead character.
I'll be back for you, he says, as he fires whatever it was, Ray of Frost,
Firebolt.
and misses.
Yeah, to be fair, we all said that, though.
That's true.
Except for me. Bryn rescued you from the mouth of the breathing
Yeah,
pod.
she did. Falzarin will never forget
And
it.
she died for you.
Okay, so that brings us to
On that note.
65, where we get on the ship and head for Heraklion with our favorite captain,
Oh, good old Grimby.
Aye, Grimby.
Good old Grimby. Yeah.
Grimby Chum, and our new rowing companions, the two-headed Etten, named
What was it? Statdorf.
Statdorf.
Yeah.
I
just
wanna,
listened to it
I wanna
today,
know
too.
how you guys got that name,
They told us, but I forget.
but they didn't tell us on mic. I don't think. I don't think it was in the episode.
Oh, no?
No.
That's true. So, so Tony and I are big fans of the Muppet Show. There are these two crusty old guys that sat up in the balcony and heckled the Muppets. Their names were Statler and Waldorf. We combine the two, Statdorf.
There
Yes,
you go.
yes.
Everyone
I love
was
it.
probably wondering. Now they know.
Yep.
And according to D&D knowledge, your most Etten names are concats of two names. Hey, see, I played by the rules.
Yeah. Bravo.
So did Shakara.
So this is not the first time you guys have played an Etten in one way or another, right? You guys have a card with your picture on it.
Yes, we do in OP Arena that was released by WizKids. We know the designer. He's in our game group, and they made this game, about 3 years ago, and they asked if they could use our likeness on a card. Well, it finally came out, and we're a two-headed Etten in OP Arena.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did y'all know that when you cast us in this role?
No.
I didn't know what
Leland, that
Leland
all
was going to
Leland.
do.
Yeah.
Wow, man, you should go buy a lottery ticket.
I use all my luck on you guys.
Oh, sorry about that. My bad. So wouldn't an Etten be too big for this ship? I mean, if he can reach and row across the entire, that kind of, I mean, what,
Yeah, it's a little oversized. It's a pretty skinny ship, though.
or he's got a huge reach or something, you know? I'm just sitting here trying to visualize that.
Extra long oars, extra long arms, the whole works.
We've learned with Leon's DMing, you just go with it sometimes.
Yeah. I loved hearing them have to do like two separate attacks and stuff. Like that was so good.
I mean, there was a point where I was thinking to myself, do we have sails? Why the hell are these guys rowing this thing? And I think later in the episode it comes out, like, why don't you put the sails down?
Did you just say oaring us?
I did say oaring us.
Jeff is
and then-
used to being oared. I'm oared right
that's how
now.
that's how you get oared.
Well, the way
Yeah,
y'all were
that's
talking
hilarious.
previously, yeah, oaring would be fitting here.
That's right. You're damn right.
Statdorf has some extra coin. I'm just, and he's got the whole package. I just heard that too.
Ooh.
Well, speaking of questions about staff door, we did have a couple good questions, right? Like, how do you eat? What hand do you use?
Right.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yep.
And my favorite question from Elena, from Mia.
Yeah, it was mostly Elena. That was not a Mia question. Yeah, which one of you wipes?
Closest to the leaf,
we-
I think, is
do
the
we
Yeah,
answer.
there
really
you
have
go.
to
It was
go over this again?
closest to the leaf. That was right. Yep. It was it was interesting. So I'd never been an NPC, and you never know. So yeah, y'all got this group, y'all are doing your thing, and the whole time I was just unsure how much to interact. Like, NPCs typically
Oh.
don't interact, so it was one of those things that I didn't want to take command or like jump in I don't know. I felt like as I listened to the episode, I probably should have done more, but I was very conscious as we were playing. It's like, well, I don't want to interrupt their flow, so I'll only speak when spoken to, sort of deal.
Ah.
You guys did great.
I know. I think you both were excellent, and we're still refining our NPC process. So don't feel too bad about that. Unfortunately, I feel like this was not the best place where I could have had you guys guest in. So I feel like we as the show, I think we did a bit of a disservice to you two as guests, which I don't know. So I do apologize for that, but I think the episode turned out great, and we still loved having both.
Oh
of you
yeah,
on.
it was. I still very much enjoyed it. So that means Statdorf must live, so you can see him again someday.
We need some retribution.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's right.
Statdorf must live. I think this needs to be a petition. Everybody needs to hashtag it.
It's going to be trending.
Statdorf lives. Save Statdorf. That's it. Hashtag save Statdorf.
There you go.
Start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
It's really hard because we schedule with our NPC guest, usually weeks in advance, and we don't know exactly where the story is going to be until right before that. So then Leland has to sort of come up with a concept there on the fly before our next recording. And sometimes it fits in pretty well, and sometimes it's a little rough. But
Yeah.
So what did you guys think overall of playing the Etten and the episode overall?
Well, I think playing the Etten was fine. I mean, it gave us the chance to interact with y'all from the standpoint of we didn't have to be part of your combat. We didn't have to really jump into your initiative. So we could freeform it. So that was easy. Enjoyed doing that part of it. Try to add a little comedy from that. But, but like Mari said, I was kind of, should we be more serious about this? How would this roll in? Because like you said, I listened to a few of your episodes. I'm like, I don't want to break their seriousness of it, this role playing. So I want to make sure we maintain that.
Yeah, I think the thing about combat is it can go, when you get into combat, it can go 10 minutes, it can go 3 hours, right? You don't know how that's all going to play out and how much interaction you're going to have. If you just have role playing, then you don't have all the background knowledge, so how much can you interact in that? So it makes it difficult, but I think you guys did a great job of keeping the comedy and the fun of it going as we took our little trip without getting attacked by a
Oh, they were hilarious.
So what were the squishies that were being fired at us? What was that again? The little squishy
spiders?
blobs?
Spiders.
It was like shooting.
Were you shooting
water spiders?
Okay, they weren't snot balls. They were water spiders.
They were just cracking snot balls, baby.
I'm not sure what would make me more disgusted and squeamish, if it was snot balls or spiders. They're both near the top of my list for things that gross me out.
Now, I was going to say, so we had water spiders, but we had no wizard capable of casting a frost spell.
Actually, I do have that spell.
Oh
but
my
it
gosh.
There's something we need to tell you about Falzarin. He's a little bit, what's the word? Incompetent?
I don't think that's the word.
Wow.
Emily.
I thought you
You're
were
thinking
gonna
of a
just go
different
with
word.
like fire centric.
He does like fire.
That's a little
Does not
harsh.
diversify in his spells.
It's a bit of a pyromancer, but no, he's just inept. That's
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, we're getting water animals thrown at us here. Somebody's got to have a way to freeze these things.
Yeah, that might have been great. Might have been a great opportunity for a ray of frost.
Well, we still have time to cut something in, right?
Yeah, the episode's not released yet. I'll just send you a few snippets of audio there, Leland, and you can splice it in.
Yeah,
I think I've had enough audio splicing for this episode.
Yeah, that's true. You did have a lot of splicing to do that episode.
Elena had some audio difficulties.
But you want to talk about that, or are we just going
I
to
don't
slide
know.
on past that?
We can just pretend it never happened because it was probably just painful for both of us. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and didn't somebody lose power also?
Yeah, well, halfway recording, I think Emily and John, their power went out, and so there was like a big 10-minute gap. We were waiting for them to come back on. That got cut out, and unfortunately, Elena's laptop mic recorded, not her microphone.
Yeah, that incident is my fault. I take full responsibility.
And I lay full blame as well.
I was really pissed off to hear that it happened.
Yeah, well, you re-recorded your stuff and I put it in. And, I mean, I did end up I think the whole recording you sent me was 20-ish minutes of all your lines, and probably only used 80% of it. I always joke about how much of you I cut out, but I actually did. It just ended up just like a.
Well, and I was as I recorded and was seeing how many minutes I actually talked, I thought I did okay. I didn't talk the whole time. Did all right.
Well, how does it feel to know that 20% of what you say could be cut out and the episode will still turn out really great?
There you go. It feels good. I feel like I'm accused of constantly talking, and that's not true. I know now after re-recording that there were even moments of 5 minutes where I hadn't said a word or anything. So
I find that hard to believe.
I'm a talkative person. There were even, so this was the other thing, re-recording moments of laughter. I'm in the other room, 10:30 at night on a Friday night, just making myself laugh to the point of fake laughing into a real laughter, because it was just anyway, you did add some of my laughs in, but I was just forcing it into a mic, it was so weird.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I can only imagine how disconnected, only listen to your own audio.
Oh, for sure.
And try to replicate it would have been.
For sure. I think there was a few times where I was do I really need to record this? And then I was well, what if they played off of what I said? I should record it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So I recorded everything. And, I mean, some of the stuff I was thinking I shouldn't record, people responded to, so...
It was so good. I think we should just record it live, and then we should all go back and individually do all our parts and send them to
That'll
Leland.
be our new process.
A little bit better quality, a little bit more emphasis on each one of those lines. I think that'll really
cut
bring
out
it
the
around. What do you
ums
think,
and
Leland?
ahs, and I mean,
Yeah.
Oh,
I
boy.
thought my
I quit.
theatrics were Oscar worthy. I mean, there was buzz about it. I don't know.
The episode hasn't been released yet, honey.
People are talking about it, okay? It's a thing.
So has Rolling Dice and Taking Names ever had to go back and re-record and push in audio pieces?
But before Marty answers that, I do have a quick question, though. So if Statdorf lives, he's an NPC, therefore he has no class or... Well, I know he has no class, but he has no profession or whatever for D&D. How would that work where we would roll that character up into a paladin or a wizard who actually uses ice spells or something
Shots
along those
fired.
lines? And then Marty, we've never had to re-record, have we, Marty?
You mean
What I figured your answer was.
No, hold on. The only time I can I know you're saying that sarcastically, but the only time I can think that we had to re-record is when we had Justin from Restoration Games on because his recording didn't work.
Oh.
But that's the only time that I think that we've ever had to, unless I'm missing something, Tony. Do you remember another time that we had to re-record?
I would think the only other time we had a bad one and we didn't really catch it and we just lived with it, which was a mistake, was at the beginning of Rolling Dice over 7 years ago where we had some bad recordings. But other than that, no, I think when poor Justin's computer crashed on him after we had recorded for 2 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, so we've been lucky. We've been very lucky with that. And like I said, Tony, at one point in time, we were having trouble with recording snafus, and that's why we bought these hardware recorders, these Zooms, just because that takes away the element of a computer crash.
Oh, okay.
So that's like something your mic plugs into.
Yes.
Records directly to.
Yes, it is. It's basically a hardware recorder. So, like right now, our mic is plugged in directly to this this hardware device, and uses an SD card, and we just copy off the SD card to it. The only time we've ever had an issue with that, now this we have done before, is I forget to hit the record button. You have to press record twice. One is to set it, to check the level, then press it again. So there have been times we've gone like 15 minutes, and I tell Tony, oops, I forgot to hit the record again. So now we have this whole process. When we record, we have this 3-step process that each of us verify.
Of course. I see where this comes from now.
And I mean, for our listeners, they've missed some of the most incredible Rolling Dice and Taking Names episodes ever. They were epic, and we don't have them.
They're just gone.
They were just gone. They're in the ether.
That's what we're going with, is that the best episodes were the lost episodes, and nobody can ever verify that. So,
I mean,
Very wise.
I was happy to re-record, like revealing that I was an ASMR. I thought that was cool to be able to re-record it where I was like more sure of what I wanted to say. But
Yeah. And that, I mean, was also one, your original recording was atrocious, and
shut up.
it really needed to have been done. But also, like, that was a big moment for your character, right? Especially within the party. So
Yeah.
it would have really sucked to have poorer quality.
No, it
that
worked
reveal,
out
yeah,
really
for
well,
sure.
and you put a lot of time into splicing it together. As much as I can complain about re-recording it all, like it.
Well, yeah, and thank you for doing that as quickly as you did, because I'll tell you, I was fucking pissed.
I got a vibe of that. You weren't
really mad.
responding to us very much that evening.
I was very angry.
But like, I was pretty upset too because it was my fault, and like, Bill just let me be. Like, I was like, I'm going in this room and I'm recording it all again. I am not happy right now.
I couldn't tell
Yeah.
any difference. You're usually annoyed with something.
It's true. That's where Bryn got it from. That's why it's so hard to be a good character. Mia, what was I thinking?
It's good practice.
Just not
for
a
you,
good
honey.
person.
So back to back to the Statdorf question. So if
Yes.
Statdorf does live and needs to roll up into a character, so basically Marty and I can sit down and pick a profession for this fine gentleman.
Well, Leland, that's more in your camp. I mean, you would take the stats from an Etten, right?
Here I'm, well, you know what? Here now I'm quickly brainstorming, and this is the part where I take some notes for the future
Yeah.
that I may or may not be divulging to the rest of you.
Give them Statdorf.
Well, I mean, if he's an Etten, it depends on what level he is, right? Because we're all just whatever race we were, and we leveled up as an adventurer. So he wouldn't have Etten stats. He would have adventure Etten stats.
Yeah, but he has fought a Kraken before.
Yeah.
As now.
So he's
as
not
canon.
a puny, like, 3rd level. He's higher level than that.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know how Grimby Chum got him to row the boat.
He could ore the shit out of somebody, I can tell you that.
I can't. I'm an Ord.
Well, maybe for backstory, he was hiding. He was trying to get away from something. Maybe there was something in his past that he didn't want to be known. Oh, I don't know. Maybe he was oaring for a not so worthy person. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
That
I'm
very well
just,
could be
I'm
true.
just guessing.
So good.
I love how John has created a new
Oaring is a thing,
new
you guys.
word. Yeah,
Buy
a
the
new
merch
verb.
next week. Emily will mock something up. I've been oared.
Bernard.
Yeah, I need that on a T-shirt.
And Emily, I expect to see the big Etten face saying, "I'm here to oar you."
I would legitimately buy that shirt.
Well, other than that, in 50 or in 65, it was just the big combat, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I think at the end of that episode, we were all in the water, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Whoa,
I
whoa,
wasn't.
whoa, whoa! Once
I
again,
fly,
y'all forget
man.
something. Yeah, you forget something. But we need to pay, just like the Oscars previous. They paid homage to those who died, or The Walking Dead when they pay homage to those who die. The captain went down with the ship. It's so sad.
Well, did we confirm Grimby Chum as
We did not confirm
Chum?
Grimby Chum as Chum.
Yeah.
I think it was Jerry who we know.
Jerry, we
is-
definitely lost
right.
early on.
Yeah.
He didn't stand a chance.
Jerry's for sure dead, yeah. Grimby and Sally are in the drink with the rest of you.
Okay.
Yeah. Down with the Rising Star 2.
It's Rising Starfish.
Rising Star
And
2.
maybe Surma's dead, but that's okay. Like, we don't.
The track record for this party and basically everyone else we have met in boats is pretty bad. Right? Everybody that's been on a boat, the boat has sank and people have died.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's Falzarin bringing his curse from his younger years.
Maybe.
It could
Who
be.
knows?
I mean, you are
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
common
you
thread.
are the common denominator.
Exactly. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
That's how Falzarin ended up on Heraklion. So
Did you get in the lifeboat, Falzarin?
yes, I did. Yeah.
Why? I mean, you know how to swim really fast and,
And
you
hold
can
your breath really
Hold
well.
your breath really long.
There's absolutely no reason to get in that lifeboat.
You don't say. Has that come up already?
I don't want to be a spoiler of any news to the listener, but yeah, I think that might have crept in somewhere.
Falzarin's only said that a dozen or so times. Yeah, I don't know. I think
He
maybe
didn't want to get wet.
his robes get very heavy when they're wet.
I mean, it seems like a Falzarin thing to not want to swim, but then brag about swimming really well.
Yeah.
And Mia's like, I got 30 more seconds of flying, son. I'm going to stay up here.
There was a pretty good battle there with the spiders, and when you hit them, I think Statdorf took one and split it into two, right? So Leland, you want to touch on that a little bit about how the spiders work?
I was going to say, I want to know how they can turn from a puddle into, like, smaller spiders or whatever. That's weird.
Well, they get shot as the puddle, right? That's the projectile, and then they land and form into these weird magical spider thingamajiggers. But basically, you saw some of the puddles, basically two pairs of those puddles, they formed into one larger one. That's where the larger spiders came from, right? And when you knock them down, they split into the smaller ones, and then you have to kill the smaller one.
Yeah, luckily the smaller ones didn't split again. They could turn
Split
into
again,
a real...
and
Right?
again, and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Now, Leland, if I recall correctly, I had specifically discussed my phobia of spiders.
You and
shortly
him both, yeah.
Yes.
shortly before this encounter
Bill, I
happened,
think we learned
so-
our lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
I
that
think so.
conversation the night before we played, actually. I was doing some last minute prep, and they were originally you were going to be fighting penguins, but then you voiced your fear of spiders, and I was like, I wonder if there's a water spider.
Oh,
I
man.
kind of want to kill a penguin.
Does anybody remember that movie Arachnophobia? I think it was 80s or
Yes.
something. Went and saw that movie. It was my
Yes.
mom and my brother and my friend. My friend and I were sitting a few aisles up from Mom and Mike. Mom sent Mike down in the middle of the movie to come scare the shit out of us. And he did. Came up and like tickled our arms and yeah.
He
After
orged you.
watching that movie for weeks, every time I poured myself a bowl of cereal, I was like sure that there was going to be a spider come out of the box of
The
cereal.
box.
Insight to our life: if Bill is going to be the one to kill a spider, which is usually like it's on a ceiling that I can't reach, because I will kill spiders, I don't care. He has to get a lighter and hairspray, and he flame torches the spider off the ceiling.
You're
True
gonna burn down
story.
your house.
They're like black marks all over your ceiling.
The first time
We
I
have to
saw
get
him
the
do
paint
it, I was
touched up
like
at least
losing
every
it.
3 to 6 months in our house.
Well, it's because Bill doesn't have any ice spells.
He has flame
Oh,
hairspray
boy.
torched a spider off curtains before. And he's like, it'll be fine. I'm like, oh my
It'll be
gosh,
fine.
you gotta be kidding me.
It'll be fine.
Curtains can be replaced, but spiders are the devil incarnate.
I'm a professional. I know what I'm
Oh
doing.
man, it's so he is really afraid of spiders, and Emily and Bill, for sure, their reactions were just priceless. Oh man.
I mean, they've got too many legs and too many eyes. It's just
Agreed.
It's unnatural.
Agreed.
So, guys, unfortunately, I need to run because of other commitments. Okay, let's be honest here. I'm in a hotel room. My connection keeps dropping in and out, and also the Moscato is flowing downstairs. But anyway, I really appreciate the opportunity to be an NPC. It got me ready for that new movie. Marty, what was that Ryan Reynolds is coming out with? The one we're going to talk about on our movie show?
Something guy.
The other guy?
No. It's where he's... Oh, that's right. I see what you're going with. So he's an NPC in a video game and realizes he's an NPC and can do
that's
things. Right. It's the new guy, the old guy, the something guy. Anyway, it looks funny.
Google it real quick.
So while we kill time while somebody types in Google. But yes, thank you so much for this. I appreciate the opportunity for us to talk about Eton hygienes, enemas, things like that on your show. That was awesome. And giving me going from play by forum up to a live D&D RPG. That was awesome. So thank you guys so much, and we really do appreciate it.
Is it called Free Guy?
Free Guy. There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
Go watch
out July 3rd.
Trailer for that one. Yep. So yeah, watch a trailer for that. It's kind of like like I said, an NPC just all of a sudden realized, wait a minute.
Yeah, the title says the world needed a hero and they got a guy.
Yeah.
Well, funny fact about that is Ryan Reynolds was actually the second choice behind Tony to star in that.
Ooh.
Now there you go.
Juicy.
They heard conflicting schedules, so they cast Reynolds.
Who unbeknownst to many people, was a runner-up to the Sexiest Man Alive when Ryan Reynolds won that year.
There you go. I don't think so. Yep. I mean, that's another lie that we're going to go with.
Always a bridesmaid.
So if Statdorf does live, just let us know, because I'm sure we can figure out how to get this scheduled again, because it was a lot of fun, and maybe this time we'll actually bring good rolling dice.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm sorry. Hey, we'll have good rolling dice.
Oh, and taking names? I was going to say, I did find out from this, I suck at improv. It's funny, it's one of those things. It's like, good. It's like, okay, I'm playing this character, and then you guys like ask a question. I'm like, I'm going to say something funny here. And nothing ever came out. So
I mean, grunting and saying was your improv of that character.
Oh, that's true.
It wasn't apparent. I thought you guys did fantastic.
Me too. I thought you guys were great.
Thanks. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, we're all going to be at Origin, so if you want to play an RPG with us, there
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, y'all play
Sounds
without
fun.
me, because I will not be there.
You're not going to make it?
No, I will not be at Origins. I only get one con, and that is Gen Con, which Marty and I will have to be renting a moped to get from where our hotel is over to the convention center.
Yeah.
Ooh, the two of you on a moped. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a Dumb and Dumber skit or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
It
sure.
was. Oh, yeah. Going up the Colorado Rockies. Yep.
Yeah.
Which one's going to be driving and which one's going to be
gonna
holding?
pee? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who's going to pee to keep you warm?
That's right.
And which one wipes?
Well, thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Thank you all.
It was a blast.
Yep.
Why don't we just jump right into questions? I think there was only the one from Jess, right? Or the two from Jess.
Well, she had a comment. I'll read that. She said, "Yes, Falsley, finally remembering to use the Wand of Secrets and finding something."
Yay,
And she
Falsey!
laughs.
Woo! Let me play my
Hooray for
tiny violin.
She was hoping we might be able to talk a little bit about the different things that levels get, the different things that clerics and paladins get that you guys are excited about or that have looked at taking. She was saying how she remembers at certain levels rangers get different feats and that sort of thing. Is there anything that you guys want to comment about clerics or paladins?
I think while Elena fiddles with her player's handbook, the difference between there's a big difference between clerics and paladins, and I think it's easy to lump those two classes together and think they're very similar, but they're quite frankly as different, in my opinion. They're as different as the wizard is, as different as the sorcerer is, as different as a warlock, really. So I don't know. I much prefer a cleric over a paladin. I think the clerics are much more varied They have a ton of different domains that allow you to take your role play and I think many more directions than you may have playing a paladin. But I don't know. What do you think of that, Emily?
I've only played a couple different kinds of clerics, so I haven't really branched out too much in the cleric world. But a cleric is more of a healer that can fight, and a paladin is more of a fighter that can heal. But really, a paladin's main purpose is not healing. That's more of it's a bonus thing. A paladin's really a fighter.
Right. This explains them actually getting a whole different way of healing with their lay on hands.
Yeah.
Other than burning spell slots. So you can smite.
Smite all day long.
I think, like, up until this point, because of my own comfort level, Mia is much more of a fighter than a healer, and, like, more of a fighter than a buffer and debuffer. But going forward, I think that there will be more opportunity for that to present itself. But also a lot of my, like, healing or buffs, like, guidance and stuff, like, I have to be in touch range of other familiars, and I, like, coming forward as the battle finishes and stuff, like, I wasn't in touch range of anybody. So
yeah. Also, though, the Tempest domain is much more inclined to dealing
more
damage.
fighty,
So
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mean when I say there are so many different types of domain. If you want a heal bot cleric, you just be life domain. And you'll like, your cure wounds will, like, minimum heal like 10 points of, on a first level spell and that kind of shit.
I have a life domain cleric, and it's amazing the amount of healing that she can do.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Pretty soon we're all going to level up to level 7. And at level 7, like, I don't get anything extra, like you're talking about, Jess. Basically, am I wrong about saying this, but, like, everyone at 4th level chooses an ability score improvement or the feat?
Yeah, and then at 8th.
Yeah, so that's at 4th or 8th level, so, like, we're not at 8th yet. So when I built my character at a level 6, I chose to do ability score improvement, not a feat. So Mia does not have a feat. She has an ability score improvement so that her wisdom modifier is a +4. Because it bumped me up into the next category.
Yeah. Well, this is like, it varies from class to class, but after like 6, 7, 8, 9-ish, like those are nothing levels.
Yeah.
And then you get after 10 a lot of time, and then there's kind of another power spike, I think. Because you're moving into a whole nother tier of play as well.
Yeah. And maybe there's something that she or, like, other listeners wouldn't know, but, like, as a cleric, when I channel divinity and, like, when I channel, I get that destructive wrath, which is, like, max thunder or lightning damage. I only get that 2 times per long rest, and it only jumps up to 3 times a long rest at level 18. So, like, it's 2 times from here on out. Like, screw it. Yeah.
But at 7, a cleric gets 4th level spell slots.
I have one 4th level spell slot
at 7, right? Mm-hmm. So for a cleric and many other full casters, a cleric is considered a full caster versus a paladin is only considered a half caster. The power creep for these in between levels is this. They're represented in those spell slots. Mm-hmm. Same with Falls, right? When a wizard hits level 5, they start to boom because they get 3rd level spells.
Yeah.
And that's where the power creep is. Not in these little individual abilities like a rogue or a ranger get more of, because they're martial classes. So that's kind of where many of the differences come. And then you have the paladin, which is like half martial, half caster. And I don't know. They're weird. It's a weird class.
At 5th level, I got my second attack, and at 6th, I got my Aura of Protection, but then there's not really any big thing for a while. So, yeah.
Well, and you hadn't played a paladin before, so you're experimenting with it and getting experience with it.
I'm experimenting.
Yeah. So,
to be honest, when we started playing D&D, and even up until not that long ago, like, I played a paladin for our Clockwork Tower one-shot, but I had no idea what a paladin was. Like, I don't know, it never came up in any video games or any story, novels or anything I read. I had no clue what a paladin did or what they were.
They are a holy warrior.
Yeah, did not know that.
And you thought a cleric was more squishy than they are.
Yeah, I think with 5e, they've sort of let everybody do everything to a certain degree. Whatever
Yeah.
class you choose, you can vary that class to be more of a thief type or a fighter type or so that you can pretty much choose whatever you want to be. And
I mean, a lot of the subtypes and the domains, they've built in multi-classing as like a core of 5e.
yeah,
Like a rogue, a rogue can become an arcane trickster and get some wizard spells. A fighter can become an eldritch knight and get some wizard spells. You know that, or are they warlock spells? I don't even know what an eldritch knight is. I've never played one, so I don't even really know. But regardless, they get magic, right? Like everybody can have magic if they want magic.
Well, and the second part of her question was like, does it feel like making a character who starts at level 3 or 6 compared to starting at level 1? Like, is there a certain level of accomplishment, to have played through and earned that experience? Or is it more fun to just jump in and be level 6 and have that, those third level spell slots or something?
Level 6. Level 6 all the way for me, because level 6 is a beautiful place to create a multi-class character, in my opinion.
And you love multi-class.
6 different levels of
you
character.
get 2 levels of your tertiary class, and you get 4 of your main, which means you still get an ability score bump or a feat.
True.
So that's like a sweet spot for me. I don't need a grind. I don't want to grind. No, multi-classing is terrible with grind.
No, if you're familiar with the game and you're familiar with the class, definitely the higher levels jump right in.
Yeah.
Because those first 3 are sometimes kind of boring. There's not a whole lot you can do, and you can die easily.
I mean, when we do at our house when we were playing D&D, we usually just start a character at 3rd level. We don't even want to mess with the 1 and 2 at all, and because you really don't get that bump until 3.
Well, some people start at 5 too, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Depends on the play group, I suppose.
If you're brand new to D&D, there might be some benefit in starting at
Oh,
first
definitely.
level. Especially like for me,
Yeah.
it was a lot to try and keep up with what all there is to keep track of with the wizard.
For sure, like, I think as Mia, I would have enjoyed learning to cast where it wasn't such like a do or die level 6 situation as a magic user, but, once you've played a little bit, it kind of comes to you, but I wasn't able to keep track of everything. I think maybe it comes up in the next episode, but I wasn't, when I had my, what's it called? Radiant Soul. Like, so Radiant Soul is what allows me to fly for a minute once a long rest. When I have Radiant Soul, I can deal extra radiant damage to someone, and I wasn't doing that. Every turn, I could have been dealing extra radiant damage.
Yeah, it's a ton of stuff. Yeah.
And I, wasn't remembering.
It's not that complicated. It's just a lot of little minutia to keep track of. Like, it's not that challenging of a game, but there's just a lot of little things, especially if you're a spellcaster, I think. I mean, that's all I've really played.
Well, and there's a lot of spells that the text could use a good edit on, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So there's some major ambiguity in some of the longer spell texts that if you are newer, it is a little difficult to wrap your head around. I mean, catapult is case in point. This is a very strange spell. It has the spell when you cast it has a range, and then within the text itself, it has a second range, of which the item that you can reach 60 feet away then shoots 90 feet. Right? Like, so it's some of it can really use some refinement, in my opinion.
Well, and just some of those lengthy spells too, like to start at level 6, which is what I think I still would prefer to do. I get all the spells. Like, that's so many spells.
Yeah, it's impossible for you to know all of them and really to know what to prepare to, right? You really would need to take the time, whereas, I can look, especially cleric, because I play a lot of cleric. It's one of my favorite classes. But I can, look at the cleric spell list and know which ones I want to prepare, depending on what I want my character to do, right? Because I know the spells, but it is a lot. Like, if I had to do something similar, like with a sorcerer, I'm less versed in sorcerer-specific spells. And while that pool of that specific spells for that class may be smaller than cleric-specific spells, it's still a pool in which I'm unfamiliar with and need to, wade into and figure out.
I think that's everything from Jess, right?
Yeah.
The only other thing I can think is talk about the contest, and do we want to talk about anything that's coming up? We don't have a lot coming up except the contest stuff right now.
Our contest is officially ended, and we'll be announcing a winner soon. I mean, by the time this comes out, we will have already announced a winner.
Yeah.
Insert name here.
Say, yay, insert name here.
Yeah.
Congrats. At Big Booty 69.
I won?
Leland's alt account won. So, for anyone who's been following along, as of this recording, our second big giveaway has just ended. And yeah, it once again, I was amazed at the turnout of people. So thank you all to those of you who entered and who have shared it around. I haven't officially picked a winner yet. I need to go through I'll be going through the spreadsheet and making sure there's no errors in there, and then randomizing and announcing a winner tomorrow, which for everyone listening to this is many days ago. But congratulations to whoever wins. They'll be able to pick a D&D book of their choice, and we'll send it off to them. So I'm excited about that. That'll be fun.
Woo-woo.
And then there will be a third giveaway happening towards the end of this month. So that is end of February. Actual date hasn't been figured out yet, but I'm looking forward to that one as well. John has very graciously agreed to paint a mini. Whoever wins can kind of work with John to pick a mini of their choosing within, some restrictions. Can't be enormous, but John's going to paint something up for someone and send it off to them. So that'll be very cool. So stay tuned for that.
Nodding doesn't translate to podcast, John.
I have nothing to add. He said everything exactly right.
And then he just nods at the camera.
I will say he can do it off the cuff when it has nothing to do with an intro and outro.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Wasn't as easy as you thought it was going to be, did it?
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
It was at least 30 minutes I spent.
Babe, you were in there for an hour and you came out with nothing to show for it.
The reason I know is because I tried to do that too. And after about 15, 20 minutes, I went, all right, I'm just writing this shit down, and I'm just going to say it.
It's ridiculous. I had some notes.
Elena, I scripted mine out. How did you do yours?
Oh, I scripted mine out and I read
From the
it.
very beginning.
Yeah. Even the part where I was like making fun of Lelanders and stuff. That was all scripted.
The funniest part about that was Bill chirping in the Discord. Yeah, my outro is going to be super off the cuff and
Yeah.
No,
very organic for the listener.
I could see how it came
but your
across
scripted
like
outros
that.
are pretty good too. But mine's gonna be pretty good. I mean,
Bill, maybe you should right now just do an off the cuff outro. Like, take it away.
That wasn't what
Let's
I
go.
meant, but I can see how it came across like that. Basically, I wanted permission to be able to say whatever I wanted to say.
You already have permission. We've already said that.
You
can
say whatever the fuck
You're on the
you
after
want.
party.
Say it in your
You can
voice.
say whatever you want. It's after party. Say it out. Take us
It's
away.
after party.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we have bills to pay. There's a few things we have to hit in this stupid outro that's long as it is.
There's so many
If we
bills
add
to pay.
anything,
Yeah,
that's just
you don't
gonna...
want to piss off the sponsor, Bill.
That's true.
Oh, that's something we forgot. Was there was a post credit in the end of 64 that you all weren't allowed
I
to
didn't.
listen to.
Oh,
So
yeah.
why talk
Yeah.
about it? Because we don't know about it.
Well, it's just in case, listeners skip through our terrible scripted outro in this.
64 was the one I did, was it not? Don't skip through my outro.
I was going to bring that up. There is quite a pause after the outro's done before that little bit at the end. Is there?
It's
is
a 5 to 7 second pause. It is
5
a
to
7 second
7 is
max
the
pause.
perfect number.
Usually 5 seconds.
Yeah, so for anyone listening to this who didn't hear the after credits of, what was it, 56?
64.
64.
64, yeah.
Oh
That's what
my
I said.
gosh.
64.
To date, there have been 7 after credit scenes. That was our 7th one.
With a,
Wow.
with a 7-second pause.
We're
With
gonna
a
have to start
7
calling
second
ourselves,
pause, exactly.
Marvel here. With all the after credit scenes. We don't make quite as much as Marvel.
Yeah, it's
No,
about
that's quite
1.3
alright.
billion less per film.
I just reread my contract and
Yeah, there it is in the fine print. Oring.
Plenty of oring.
damn. Okay.
You just got org.
Well, if you for some reason enjoy this garbage, then you can reach out to us on social media at Incorrigible Par on Twitter, Incorrigible Party on Instagram, the Incorrigible Party on Facebook, our newly improved and continuing to be revamped website, incorrigibleparty.com.
Yes.
We got lots of merch on redbubble.com. These lovely graphics that Emily has painstakingly created for your wearing pleasure.
We're gonna have a shirt soon. You just got ord.
When I was going to improv my outro, what I wanted to say is a huge thanks to everybody who has written into us and who continues to write into us, who has shared the show with someone or has posted about it online and recommended us, and even some folks who have gone so far as to rate us on iTunes, which is awesome. And so thank you everyone who has done that. If you haven't done it, please consider doing it. It helps us grow and spread our incorrigibleness to more people.
Like a contagious disease.
So thank you all.
Just go oring everybody.
There is no vaccine. There are no antibiotics.
There's no cure.
It's terminal, I'm afraid.
It's a terminal illness.
I've been John and Shaft.
I've been Emily and Shakara.
I'm Elena and Mia.
I've been Bill and Falzarin.
And I'm Leland Seal.
Oh, so excited about that.
Happy adventuring.
Happy adventure. I'm Eeyore.
And I have incorrigible-litis.
Well, we gotta have something for the end of the episode because we always have something for him to clip in.
I'm
so.
sure there's
Now
probably.
we've got-
Oh, I've got clips saved up.
And
Like, I
now
have
we've
old
got
clips
at Big
saved up.
Booty 69.
Yeah, I could use the big booty, I suppose.
Big booty, big booty, big booty. Oh yeah, big booty.
Wow.
You never played that game?
No, I have no idea what
are
you're
you
talking about.
You guys don't know. Leland, you gotta know that game.
No, what the hell are you
What?
talking about?
It's kind of like concentration, where like you say big booty number 1, big booty number 3. Then if you're big booty number 3, you have to say big booty number 3, big booty number 5, and you gotta like say it before the time runs. Oh, you guys.
Pretty sure that's a game that your family made up or
No,
something.
we played it in school on the bus. Fine, whatever.
How do you win the big booty?
You're the last big
John
booty
really
standing.
wants to know.
Wait, what'd you say?
You're the last big booty standing. So there's 5 of us, right? We would be you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like if you get called and you're big booty number 3 and you can't call the same person back in a row. Like, you couldn't say big booty number 3, big booty number 4 after 4 just called 3. Anyway, basically, you're out if you don't say a number in the right time or if you call the person back. Anyway, you're the last big booty standing, you win.
How many people were typically in a big booty battle?
I mean, this could have been like 20 or some on the bus.
20?
Yeah.
That's pretty damn
This is
easy
like
not
on
to say the
field
number again.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah,
way
but
too
like
easy.
when you're put on the spot in front of all your
You're
friends.
a big booty idiot if you say
And
the
you're
number
doing-
that just came out of it.
And you're usually like clapping like this, like you're like clapping to keep the rhythm. Anyway, you guys,
All right, Bill.
you're not
Okay.
millennial
The
enough.
hardest part is figuring out who's big booty number 1 because they obviously have the biggest booty.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Is that how you number?
No,
Biggest through small. It's not like shortest to tallest when you line up. Like line up, shortest to
we
tallest.
did not be like let's play big booty and then like compare butt sizes before we play.
Get the
Well, you only
measuring
have
tape
to do
out.
that before the first game, and then you are
What if
set
somebody
for the rest
new?
of the school
No,
year.
not if somebody new joins in.
Oh yeah.
Well, if someone
big
new
booty.
joins in, then
You gotta go
either
down a line
don't
and try
let
and fit them
anyone-
in.
It's easy. You start in the middle. It's like building a top 100, right?
Okay,
You
ready?
pick a game.
There is a
compare
wiki-
other games to it.
There's a wiki how on how to play big booty.
Oh, there you go.
Big
What
Booty is
year
a
wa-
traditional 2019 updated. Big Booty is a traditional clapping and chanting game that challenges people not to break rhythm or get tongue-tied. by not
Traditional?
I
making
don't believe it.
it says traditional classic enchanted game.
Back in my day, booty was treasure.
Okay, ready? So it says gather participants in a circle.
John's a pirate.
It can be as few as 3 people, but no more than 15. Okay.
Oh,
So then
the hard cutoff.
You
at
take
15.
a number. You number.
Well,
in a
you
row.
cheated. You had 20 people.
The game really falls apart at 16 people.
So after
yeah.
the group chant, which is big booty, big booty, big booty. Oh yeah, big booty. Then you say big booty. Number 1, big booty. Number 2, big booty. Number 2, big booty. Number 5, big booty. Number 5, big booty. Number.
Oh God.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
1 to 2
How do we
minutes per
stop this?
player.
This is awful.
It's a thing.
This is so
Google it.
awful.
God, I can't believe your bus driver didn't just go right into a telephone pole.
Oh, so bad. Cut that out, Leland.
If they're all
I was
big
thinking
booty in
the
that
bus
back in there,
driver was probably some type of pedophile or something.
I mean,
Listening to these school children talking about big booties.
at this point, I feel like I'm just trying to defend myself because I started singing big booty, and you guys don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, is the
There's
bus
no
driver the one
defense.
judging the booties in the lineup? Like,
There is no lineup.
Obviously, you need someone impartial.
Oh gosh. My face hurts from smiling.
it's
All right,
impossible
so-
to find an impartial judge when it comes to big booty.
Can you sit
You either
at
love them or you don't.
bus driver's resume.
Impartial big
judge.
booty.
Well, we've been looking for somebody to drive our bus, and
Judge
I
the
see
big
here you've had some big booty experience. You're hired.
You would be surprised at how difficult it is to find an IBBJ.
Yes.
A
I knew there was going to be
certified
an acronym.
IBBJ.
The IOC of the IBBJ.
Yeah, just use some acronyms.
The SEO.
Man.
Fingerless gloves, okay?
This is all your fault, Elena.
Isn't it always? The stupid butt plugs was me too.
Hey, Bill, tell us about those giveaways.